Okay, let's start inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa. Wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa. Amma ba'd. Fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. فلا أقسم بمواقع النجوم وإنه لقسم لو تعلمون عظيم إنه لقرآن كريم في كتاب مكنون لا يمسه إلا المطهرون تنزيل من رب العالمين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم Welcome to yet another episode of the Daily Gems from the Quran. We are thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has allowed us to gather here once again, shortly before our iftar time, to enhance our knowledge and to learn something about our deen through these short gems and reminders from the Quran. I want to talk about something very interesting today and drive home two key points, which I'm going to reiterate at the end. So just follow along, inshallah. In Surah Ali Imran, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم When Imratu Imran, the wife of Imran, she made a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have a child that will be accepted for the service of deen. She made an oath, she made a pledge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the child that I will have from this pregnancy, I will dedicate this child solely for the purpose of deen. MashaAllah. And what happened is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions in the ayah, and I apologize if there was a fa missing at the beginning, فَتَقَبَّلَهَا رَبُّهَا بِقَبُولٍ حَسَنٍ وَأَنْبَتَهَا نَبَاتًا حَسَنًا وَكَفَّلَهَا زَكَرِيَّا. So her Lord accepted her with good acceptance and caused her to grow in a good manner and put her in the care of Zakaria. Okay, Zakaria, who was a prophet, alayhi salam, who ended up being who was the uncle of the daughter that Imratu Imran had. Okay, Imratu Imran, the wife of Imran, thought that she was going to have a male child, right? Because usually it is the male children that get to serve full time in the deen, like for example, like an imam in the masjid, or get to stay in the masjid. The women, even if they serve in the masjid, they have to go home at a certain time. They have their monthly cycle to contend with, and they cannot also do itikaf in the masjid. Okay, so she thought that she was going to have a male child, but then when she had a female child, she was a bit surprised, given that she expected that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was going to accept her dua. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted her dua in such a beautiful way that He made that girl that was born, Maryam alayhi salam, to be the mother of the second last prophet to come on the face of this earth, Isa alayhi salam. Okay, now, not only that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted her to be in the service of deen, and He made a Nabi, a prophet, a Rasul, a prophet, Zakaria, who was her uncle, take care of her. Okay, and he was like the imam in the temple at the time. So something very interesting happens after Maryam alayhi salam when she grows up. كلما دخل عليها زكريا المحراب وجد عندها رزقا. Every time Zakaria alayhi salam came upon her prayer chamber, okay, it's called the mihrab, and I've highlighted that in red over here. Okay, just take note of that. Okay, كلما دخل عليها زكريا المحراب. Every time Zakaria came upon her in her prayer chamber, the place where she had dedicated to praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وجد عندها رزقا. He found with her fruits, right? He found with her some sort of provision, some sort of food. And the Mufassirin, they mention that these were basically fruits And these were fruits from out of season. In other words, for example, like you've got dates, right? The time when they harvest dates is in the summer, right? It's a summer fruit that's harvested in the summer. And then when you have, for example, mangoes, right? For those of us that like to eat mangoes, mangoes are harvested in the summer. In the heat of the summer, they reach their peak of ripeness and then they're harvested. So, for example, she was having dates in the winter, right? When they're not expected to you to have dates, especially back then when there was no refrigeration, there was no fruits coming in from the southern hemisphere, which is at the other season, etc. Nowadays, alhamdulillah, you can find every fruit in every season. But this isn't always the case. And even if you go to other countries in the world where they don't have so many luxuries as we do in America, you will find that, for example, it's really hard to find a mango in the winter, right? It's really hard to find dates in the winter. So he found these fruits that are out of season with Maryam alayhi salam. So he naturally asked, whoa, where did you get this from? قالت أنى لك هذا. Where did you get this from, Ya Maryam? Where did you get this from? Where is this coming to you? Right? This is amazing. She said, قالت هو من عند الله. إن الله يرزق من يشاء بغير حساب. She said her iman was so strong, right? And she had such firm belief. She said, this is from Allah. Allah gives whoever He wishes without any account. Allah SWT doesn't care if it's winter or summer. He gives whatever He wants to whoever He wants, whenever He wants. Right? She had such strong iman based on her constant praying and worshiping in that place of worship that she had in the mihrab. Okay, she was brought up in that kind of an environment, right? With that yaqeen, that iman was built up so firm, and she was to be a mother of a prophet after all. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned so many different qualities of her. Stafaki ala nisa'il alameen, that we have chosen you out of all the women of the world. So, interesting point now. In Surah Maryam, she moves out of her mihrab and she goes somewhere to the east. Okay, some of the ulama, they mentioned that it was to take a bath. Okay, so she leaves her environment of the mihrab and she goes towards the east for some need. Okay, and then the angel Jibreel alayhi salam comes to her and gives her glad tidings of a child. That you are going to have a child, a miraculous child. What is her reaction? Okay, what is her reaction? Now, is it normal for a woman, a virgin woman, to have a baby? No, absolutely not, right? And what is her reaction? The same way that it's not normal to have fruits out of season, it's not normal for a woman that's not married to have a child. So what does she say? قالت أنى يكون لي غلام ولم يمسسني بشر ولم أك بغيا. Like, how can I have a child? How can I have a boy while no man has touched me and I have not been unchaste? Like, I'm not married. I'm not expecting to have a child. Right? So something very interesting there, right? What happened? In the first case, when she's getting fruits out of season, she connects that directly that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give whatever He wants to whoever He wants, whenever He wants. But when she's been given glad tidings of having a child without being married, she can connect that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving whatever He wants to whoever He wants, whenever He wants. There's a disconnect there. Why? What happened? That same Maryam, alayhi salam, when it came to the fruits, she was able to clearly say, this is from Allah, and He gives to whoever He wants, whenever He wants. When it came to a child, she couldn't make that connection at that time to say, oh, of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give me a child however He wants, against the means, right? In spite of the means not being there. The same way fruits can be given in spite of the means, I can be given a child in spite of the means. So the ulama, they mentioned the key difference between these two situations is what? Can anyone take a wild guess? Can anyone take a guess in the chat? Or if you're, for the males, they can come off mute and and just speak, inshallah, why the difference between the two situations in the way Maryam alayhi salam was thinking. Can anyone guess why there was a difference in the way that Maryam alayhi salam was thinking in those two situations? Okay, so the answer is that there was a difference in the environment. When she was in her mihrab, she was in her place of worship, her attention was focused solely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yet when she moved out of her mihrab, her environment changed. And therefore, her mind didn't immediately go towards the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that will give her this child out of season without marriage. Okay, it's the environment that changed. Okay, so that's the point number one that I want to make, is that the environment matters. The environment that you put yourself in, the environment that you find yourself in, has a very strong impact on the way you think and on the way your iman is. Okay. Now, the next point that I wanted to make was something related to this. Okay. After we read this verse that Zakaria alayhi salam was surprised when he saw fruits out of season with Maryam alayhi salam, did Zakaria alayhi salam also have a desire, that a dua that he wanted to make to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Yes. We find in the beginning of Surah Maryam that Zakaria alayhi salam had been making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have a child. And then he was mentioning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he has become old by now. His hair has become white, making this dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he still has not given up hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's become a very old man. Him and his wife have become very old. They've been wanting a child for so long, but and not just a child so that they can have someone carry on their name. No, a child that can carry on the duty of prophethood that has been given to him, right? Not for selfish reasons, but to continue the work of deen. So he's grown old making this dua, but there has been no child. When he sees the answer of Maryam alayhi salam, Inna Allah yarzuqu man yasha'u bighayri hisab, he sees fruits out of season being given to Maryam alayhi salam, he thinks to himself, wow, why can't I be given a child out of season? Why can't I be given a child out of season? It's not his season, quote unquote season, to have a child. This is not the typical age when a woman or a man have a child, right? He's very old now. But he sees that fruits can be given out of season, practically demonstrated. He sees this because obviously every one of us knows this, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do whatever he wants. But when he practically sees this, he sees that fruits are being given out of season. He realizes that this is an opportunity to make dua to have a child out of season. Okay, he immediately realizes this is the chance to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to have that dua of mine accepted, to have a child out of season. هنالك دعا زكريا ربه قال رب هب لي من لدنك ذرية طيبة إنك سميع الدعاء. How many times must he have made this dua? As a prophet of Allah, from let's say the age of 25, let's say now he's 90 or 100. How many times do you think he's made this dua in the past to have a child? Thousands and thousands of times. Probably after every prayer, this becomes like their desire, right? Ya Allah, grant me a child. Ask someone that doesn't have a child what it feels like and how they wish they could have a child. And immediately the dua is answered. فنادته الملائكة وهو قائم يصلي في المحراب أن الله يبشرك بكلمة أن الله يبشرك بيحيى مصدقا بكلمة من الله وسيدا وحسورا ونبيا من الصالحين. He's been given glad tidings of a child whose name will be Yahya, who is from the pious, and is from the prophets, mashallah. So two key takeaways that I wanted to emphasize today. Number one, the environment that we place ourselves in plays a key role in the state of our iman. And that number two, we should find and we should search out suitable occasions to make an accepted dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The same way, Zakaria alayhi salam, when he found that occasion to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to have his dua accepted, we should also seek out such occasions, times and place in our life when we see that this is a good time for my dua to be accepted. And inshallah, this time that is coming up on us right now is one of those times, which is the time just before iftar. Let's make a quick dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah, He will accept all of our duas. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا تقبل صيامنا وقيامنا وقعودنا وجنوبنا وجميع أوقاتنا. اللهم اجعلنا من الذين يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم إنا نسألك حبك وحب من يحبك والعمل الذي يبلغنا حبك. اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة ونعوذ بك من سخطك والنار. Ya Allah, we've gathered here to learn about your blessed deen, to learn about your blessed book. Ya Allah, we ask that you grant us through the barakah of this month and the barakah of this time and the barakah of us breaking our fast, that you accept all of our du'as. Ya Allah, we ask you forgive every single one of us of all of our minor and major sins. Ya Allah, we ask that you wash us with your mercy, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we ask that you grant us all our pious and righteous desires of our hearts, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we ask that you forgive every single one of the Muslims in this ummah, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we ask that you lift the difficulties of this pandemic from us, Ya Allah. We ask that you grant us sincerity in everything that we do. Ya Allah, we ask that you grant us sound knowledge of your deen, and Ya Allah, make it a means of blessing for us in this life and the next. Ya Allah, grant us all tawfiq to attend these sessions and make these sessions beneficial for everyone, especially this humble slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم تب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم صلى الله تعالى على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين والحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاك الله خيرا. سبحان الله وبحمده. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. جزاك الله خيرا.